Hey, this is Taylor from Count, and in this video we are going to be talking about frames, reports, and templates. Now, these are all three topics that could be their own videos, but they're all very interrelated, so I thought I'd cover them all at once. But feel free to jump around to the parts that are most relevant to you. But I think you'll find that they end up working well together all as one. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's say we have done some analysis. We're looking at some data here. We've got some visualizations. So we're doing kind of an exploratory bit. We're trying to understand different artists, in this case, their streaming habits, and we've got this. And one of the first things that I like to tell people to do with your canvas when you have something like this is to use a frame, or start using frames to break things apart. So in this case, we don't have too many cells and they're all pretty related. So what we can do is we can select them all and then we can group them in a frame like this. And now they're all together and organized. Now you can imagine if this is a really complex piece of analysis, then you probably have several different frames that relate to different parts of your work. So maybe you have a staging area where you're doing some testing and some ideas. Maybe you have an area where you're just prepping and getting the data right, and then you have another area where you're doing the hardcore analysis and that kind of stuff. So frames are a really great way to do that, and again, you can do it by selecting that and hitting Command-Option-G in your keyboard shortcuts, or you can just select the frame tool here, and you can select the boundary that you want, and we're in a frame. How do frames relate to reports? So obviously frames by themselves are really great for organization. You can imagine with a really busy canvas, frames are going to help you see how these things react as components. But frames also work as reports. So reports are basically a way to view a canvas in a kind of more isolated way. So you're away from this kind of infinite whiteboard and you're in an environment like this. So this kind of reports are really beneficial when you have to tell a certain story in a certain way. So let's say you wanted to make a slide deck, or you wanted to make a dashboard or a report or something like that, where you could really control the experience that someone had when they were reading your analysis or reading your story, then you can use reports to do that. Now reports, again, you can build a report based off of frames. So if this isn't in a frame, then I can't build a report off this. We look here. This frame goes away, then there's nothing to report on anymore. So frames and reports are kind of one and the same. Now, how does this relate to templates? So templates, which you'll find over here in the data menu. So we have, get myself out of the way here. There's a lot of templates in here. Most of them are designed to help you build outputs. Now, those outputs could be something that go into reports. They could be something that you just build in the canvas. So for example, we have things like scorecards, which you can drop in here, which is just already a well-formatted, nice way for you to build scorecards. And so you don't have to take the effort of trying to build this yourself. You can focus on doing this type of analysis, and then you can use templates to just help shape it and make it look the way you want it to look. Now, one of my favorite templates is this Insight one here, just because it's super simple. Usually I can tell what I need to tell in kind of one visual and one quick headline. So I like that it's super simple. And so if we wanted to use this to kind of summarize maybe some stuff that we found, maybe we want to take this one for example. Now I just copy and pasted this because I like to keep this visual here, but you could take this actual visual and we could just drop it in. And as you can see, it just snaps into place so it fits in exactly the same way. And then we can add our title, we can add a description, which I won't do now. And then again, if I go into reports, we can see that it's in there. If I jump into report mode, it's right here. Now the other thing I show on templates is we do have this section on, we've got dashboards in here, reports, but we also have slides, which is a really common way that people use report modes is to present slide decks basically, and the slide deck being something that's now connected to live data. So you don't have to worry about this like, oh, well, it's now out of date in a week. And so when someone asks for an updated number, you've got to go back and redo it. It's really nice creating slide decks in Count because the data is there and live and up to date. And also if you start to get questions when you're giving a presentation, then you can just jump into the canvas and make a few tweaks and you have an answer rather than circling back at some later date. So we've got all the slide kind of layouts in here for you. If we take one like this, again, we can just drop it in. If we want to take something like this, and drop it in here. And again, we've kind of got a slide deck here, and we can just keep building those out. And as you can see, when you have multiple frames, then they act like a slide deck and you can scroll between them. Now in this settings here, you can control the order that these go in. You can also control something called autoplay, and this basically will switch slides for you every so many seconds. So if we go back in here, you'll see there's a little circle here, which is showing us we've just got it down to 5 seconds now, and that's just going to go to the next one. So this was built for, if you've got on your TV in the office, you have some metrics you want to kind of slide throughout the day, then doing this autoplay is a really powerful way to do that. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it on those 3 concepts. I encourage you to check out the templates. In particular, if you want to start with this recommended section, these are probably our most popular and some of the most useful ones. We've got even things like color combinations in here. If you were going to start using different colors and that kind of stuff, these are color schemes to help make sure that those colors work well together. Lots of things in here, and again, I just encourage you to use frames to help lay things out and make sure your canvas stays organized and laid out in a way that makes sense to you and anyone else who's joining in. And lastly, yeah, you can use reports to tell a story however you want to, and be sure to really think about that transition from being in a report to being in a canvas and how powerful that can be. And yeah, I think that's it for this one. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And until next time, I'll see you later.